Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning to day 67 of the Free to Hope, applying the 12 steps to COVID-19 recovery conversation with Edwina B. The 12 steps modeled after Alcoholics Anonymous over 80 plus years ago that are spiritual in nature, that I have been a part of as a member. So I do not represent Alcoholics Anonymous, but been a proud, humble, and grateful member for over 30 plus years. And if it's the Creator's will that He breathed life into me and wake me up on February the 23rd of 2021, we will be celebrating 31 years and practicing these principles in all my affairs, one day at a time. So when I say this is a happy new day, day 67 of being a survivor, along with 7 other members of my family, of COVID-19, you better believe it's a happy new day. Our Creator breathed life into you this morning, breathed life into me this morning, woke you up this morning, woke me up this morning. Why? Because our Creator uses broken, wounded, and shattered people like you and like me to rescue wounded, shattered, and broken people like you and like me. So therefore, we need to give our Creator homage. We need to acknowledge Him. We need to be grateful. We need to say thank you. And with that, we are going to ask you to join me for 30 seconds of silence. And that's what we do in a 12-step program, when we want to acknowledge and give homage to the 12 steps and those of our predecessors who laid the foundation. And so we also want to give homage to those who have transitioned from COVID-19, the loved ones that are left behind. We want to give homage to those who are on the brink of death from COVID-19. Those of us who are suffering right this second, right this moment from COVID-19. Those of us who are in the process of intervening on behalf of those with COVID-19, jeopardizing their own lives and the lives of their families from COVID-19. Those who are preventing and doing the right thing regarding COVID-19, and those who are still in denial, who are still defiant, who are still rebellious, who believe it's a hoax, who have an idea, an attitude of being invincible. We want to pray for them too during this moment of silence for 30 seconds. In the 12-step program, they said all human beings are ill to some extent, and all human beings can benefit from the wisdom of the 12-step programs, as Dr. Scott T. Allison wrote in Psychology Today back in March of 2020, how we can benefit from the wisdom of the 12-step program during this month of April of 2020, when we had that first demand or command to isolate and quarantine in our own homes for 30 days during the month of April of 2020. Now we are in a new year and a new month, but this is a new day, and we can make it a happy day in spite of. And that's why we want to give 30 seconds of silence to the world, to our fellow human beings, to our Creator, as we go through this COVID-19 pandemic simultaneously. But only the Creator knows the beginning, the middle, and the end. But there is something that you and I can do to save ourselves, to save our loved ones, to save our culture, to save our community, to save our cities, to save our state, to save our country. And if we do this around the world, we can and will stop the perpetuation of COVID-19, washing our hands, social distancing, wearing a mask, and getting vaccinated. Yes. And you will see my video of me receiving my vaccination. But let's give 30 seconds of silence to the Creator and to the entire human race as we deal with the impact, the effect, the outcomes, and the fatalities of COVID-19. Join me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. On behalf of those who can't say thank you, won't say thank you, are unable to say thank you, let me say thank you for those 30 seconds in a moment of silence for all the human race. All right, so there are some exciting things going on, like review, like an overview, like we outlining what we've gone over so far, because guess what? Today we get into the questions that are posed in recovery principle number 5, the one that we are focusing on and have been for the last, including today, 7 days, by Jason Waller, JASON WAHLER. So we want to start this conversation so that we can plant a seed, so that we can ask you this question. Are you in the prevention mode of COVID-19? Are you in the intervention mode of COVID-19? Or are you like me in the restoration mode of COVID-19? Are you being proactive, reactive, inactive, or responsible regarding COVID-19? Only you can answer that question. And I would suggest that you go back to April the 1st of 2020 to review all of my podcasts presenting my experience, my strength, my hope regarding the 12 spiritual principles that I have been practicing for over 30 plus years, particularly during the month of April when I read that article by Dr. Scott T. Allison, that we can benefit from the wisdom of the 12-step programs. So I want to present to you that information as well. And I also want to ask you to go back to December the 3rd, when my family and I were dealing with the results and the symptoms of contracting COVID-19. So on December the 3rd, you will see a different appearance, because I was sick. I couldn't breathe to my fullest capacity. My taste buds had changed. My smelling capacity was limited. My whole body felt like a toothache. I was fatigued, but guess what? God said, no, you are going to persevere and you're going to hit that go live button and you're going to show anybody and everybody what COVID looks like on you. And so go back to December the 3rd of 2020, see day 1 of the transformation, the process of me being restored to sanity regarding COVID-19, and now applying these 12 steps that are spiritual in nature, that created and reminded me of the psychic change that I needed to be restored to sanity. I was, like many of you, and still can be today, defiant, rebellious, stubborn, egotistical, self-centered, selfish. Having that attitude of being invincible. It won't happen to me and my family, but guess what? It did. And it can happen to yours too. So I am obligated. It is my responsibility to show you from December the 3rd up until this day, 67, how I and family members were blessed to still be here and to be able to breathe, to be able to smell, to taste, to feel, to touch, to see, to hear. But the goal is to listen and to apply what we have heard regarding the CDC, regarding the information about the 12 recovery principles, so that you can save your life, save the lives of your loved ones, save your culture, your community, your city, your state, and your country. And we do this simultaneously and holistically around the world. We will help stop the perpetuation of COVID-19. Yes, we will. Starting with me and starting with you. So let's get to the overview and let's get to our recovery conversation. But before that, let's take a drink, a coffee. Don't get it twisted now. Even with COVID-19, people in recovery, we don't give anything or anybody that much power to make us go back to drinking again. Oh, hell to the no. We don't give anything or anybody that much power ever again to remove us where God has placed us. No, we do not. And how? By applying and practicing these 12 spiritual principles. So I want to drink to that, because I'm not going to drink no alcohol or nothing else because of COVID-19. Oh, no. I'm drinking some coffee. Have a drink, have a toast to the 12 spiritual principles being applied to COVID-19. I can smell. I can swallow. I can breathe. Woo! Y'all just don't know. So, before I start the overview, I want to mention and thank my sponsors, as well as invite individuals to also think about sponsoring this cause, okay? So it's free to the public, because the 12-step programs are free, all right? And when I am doing my podcast, I promote and advertise organizations who believe in what we're saying and what we're doing here in the Free to Hope LLC, right? And we want to give them acknowledgement. And so our sponsors are, of course, Free to Hope, Voila LLC, Wilmington Enterprise Community, Inc., who has a collaboration of over 250 agencies working holistically to provide quality services, right? We also have Women Do Haul, HAUL, LLC, Transportation Services. We have C's Barbershop, That's where that's who's my barber, His name is Mark Cooper, and it's C's Barbershop, who does and have been doing my hair for close to 30 years. And so my other sponsor is Morgan of Delaware. My attire that I wear most of the time is from Morgan's of Delaware. And also Lady T's at Morgan's of Delaware. That's where my Afrocentric clothing I wear comes from. Lady T's at Morgan's of Delaware. Also want to thank my sponsor, who I use as an example of how our Creator connects the dots. We know that in the 12-step spiritual program, that Dr. Carl Jung and Dr. Dr. Carl Jung and Dr. Bob and Dr. Bob, Dr. Carl Jung, and Bill W., right? They got together and they evaluated how the alcoholics are not being successful with the two previous movements, the Washingtonians, which was a temperance group trying to deal and help people with alcoholism, right? And then there was the Oxford group, which tried to use the religious angle to help alcoholics, but neither one of them could work. And through a meeting with Dr. Carl Jung, who admitted his limitations in the medical field's limitation, in the religious field limitations, and said to Dr. Bob and Bill, what can help the alcoholic is divine intervention, divine providence, and my last sponsor, Divine Light. That is an organization, a nonprofit, right here in Wilmington, Delaware, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and Baltimore, Maryland. So who would have thought years later I'll be connected with an organization that I share about the divine, the divinity, right? Now, divine providence, divine intervention, and divine light, which is a recovery treatment program that provides supportive housing to their clients. So, if you want to be a sponsor, please contact me, as the information is on the screen, and you can also be mentioned, and you can also be promoted. So, free to the public, sponsors are welcome for the calls and to advertise. Cash App to $free to Hope. And for more details, email me at edwina.bell@yahoo.com or 302-690-6679, because we do want this information to be free to everyone. But your organization can help promote the cause. Okay. Now, with that being said, let's get to our overview. Repetition is very important in recovery, and so I want to bring up Dr. Scott T. Allison information just to give you an overview. So, this was the article that I read on March the 31st of 2020 in Psychology Today. And it says how wisdom of the 12-step programs can help get us through April of 2020, when we were first asked as a country, right, to quarantine, isolate, to stop the perpetuation of COVID-19. Well, you see what happened and where we are now. However, had we started implementing, practicing, and learning these 7 points that Dr. Allison uses from the Al-Anon 12-step program, using the same 12 steps, we could have already saw the decrease in COVID-19 fatalities, effects, outcomes, and adversities. So go to his article and read in detail his 7 points. 1, letting go of control. 2, patience. 3, keeping the focus on oneself. 4, trust. 5, living in the present. 6, social connections. 7, service to others. So again, you want to be able to learn how this information can help you and others be a part of the solution and not a part of the problem. So once again, go to Dr. Scott T. Allison's article in Psychology Today and review how he used the Al-Anon's 12-step program for us to learn and apply the wisdom as we address this COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, So let's go to the next slide. And I want to be able to present to you what the 12 steps are. All right. So we know that being in a 12-step program for over 30 plus years, the original 12-step creator is Alcoholics Anonymous, and they were established back in the 1930s with Dr. Bob and Bill W. and others as our co-founders. Instead of talking and focusing on alcohol, we are going to apply these same 12 steps to COVID-19. So the 12 steps are, which are being applied to COVID-19. One, we admitted we were powerless over COVID-19, that our lives had become unmanageable. I want y'all, I want you to listen to these principles, to these steps that are spiritual in nature. See, that's why repetition is so important. You may have heard them and you may hear about them, but we want you to listen. We want to create that spirituality that's within you to listen, so that we can obtain that psychic change in order to make decisions based on and from a spiritual angle dealing with these physical conditions. Okay, so recovery principle number 2 came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. And sanity only means soundness of mind regarding COVID-19. 3, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him regarding COVID-19. 4, made a searching and fearless more inventory of ourselves regarding COVID-19. 5, which is the principle we have been on for 7 days and a little longer, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs regarding COVID-19. 6, we're entirely ready to have God remove all defects of character regarding COVID-19. And the remaining steps are 7, humbly ask him to remove our shortcomings regarding COVID-19. 8, made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all regarding COVID-19. 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so will injure them or others, even you, regarding COVID-19. 10, continue to take personal inventory, and when we were wrong, promptly admitted it regarding COVID-19. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood him, praying only for the knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry it out regarding COVID-19. And 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to others regarding COVID-19 and practice these principles in all our affairs. So, when I say that I've been practicing these 12 spiritual principles for close to 31 years, I did not apply it initially to COVID-19. And I contributed to contracting COVID-19, but it was my God, my creator, who allowed me and 7 of my family members to survive COVID-19. And I went a step further after doing my research, after asking questions, after talking to other people, after conversing with those who have lost loved ones to COVID-19, those who are suffering and suffer from COVID-19. I will be bringing on guests like Dr. Cornell Brunson, Pastor D, Derek Johnson, and others who have contracted but survived COVID-19. And you better believe they got vaccinated. And I did too. So I want to show you, because if you're like me, not literally, from Missouri, I need to see evidence. I need to see it with my physical eye so that it can enlighten and create my spiritual eye. All right. And so this video is of me getting my vaccine shot. And I just want to thank Canaan Baptist Church, where my pastor, Dr. Christopher Allen Bullock, shared with his sheep that the COVID-19 vaccine is available. And Reverend Daniels contacted me to say, Edwina, I had a dream about you. I don't know what it is, but guess what? You need, just like me, get that vaccine shot. And I have been thinking about it, was hesitant about it, was like everybody else. I don't know, they're trying to kill us off, this, and that. No. I had to come to the realization that if I didn't want to contract COVID-19 again and experience more severe symptoms and experience being hospitalized and ultimately experiencing death, if the vaccine will help decrease those percentages, then I'm taking it. All right. So here is my first vaccination of COVID-19.
All right, here we go, my daughter. Got it? All righty, put your Band-Aid on. We'll watch you for about 15 minutes. Okay. And then we'll check on you and we'll give you a date. In about a month, we'll call you. How about that? In a month? Yeah. All right. 28 days. All righty. Can you take a steel shot next to the doctor?
If you missed that, then I want you to see it again. How about that? Let's see it again. Here we go. Yes. Let's see it again.
Woo!
I'm excited.
Yes. Here we go, my
I'm excited. Yes.
Got it? All righty. Put your Band-Aid on. We'll watch you for about 15 minutes. Okay. And then we'll check on you and we'll give you a date. In about a month, we'll call you. How about that? In a month? Yeah. All right. 28 days. All righty. Can you take a steel shot next to the doctor here? Hey, take it.
All right. So you see, now I got the shot and it was in this arm and I have had no symptoms or effects, right? They watched me 15 minutes afterwards. And like they said, and it is the truth, you saw how long that needle was, but don't let it scare you, because if that needle's going to save my life, like those needles that saved my life from STDs during my addiction as a prostitute, I can take the vaccine shot. Yeah. But my arm is hurting like my arm hurt when I got those cortisone shots when I had operation on my shoulder, and also those other shots that I got in different parts of my body when I caught STDs during my addiction. So guess what? Vaccinate me against this COVID-19 so I won't have to experience the severity of the symptoms. So I don't have to be hospitalized. So I may not die from COVID-19. From what I read and from what I understand and from what Dr. Fauci said, it does not prevent you from catching COVID-19. What it does is prevent you from experiencing the severity of the symptoms so that you don't have to go through it, may not be hospitalized, and definitely may not die from it. And guess what, y'all? I'm going to get her information. Dr. Fauci stated that, and I had her name, and I can't think of it now. The vaccine, the COVID-19 vaccine, was created by an African American woman. Yes, from, I believe, South Carolina. I'm going to get her name. So with all this preconceived this and preconceived that, what? About them trying to kill us or them trying to repeat history with the syphilis thing and all of that? No, this vaccine was created by an African American woman. Now, go and get that vaccine so it can save your life, save the lives of our loved ones, our culture, contribute to saving the lives in our community, our city, our state, our country. And if we simultaneously get these vaccines across and around the world, we don't have to see the increased devastation, effects, impact, outcomes, and fatalities of COVID-19. Okay, so let's get back to our overview. And so once I presented you the information regarding the 12 steps, I now want to review what we have been talking about through Jason Waller, Jason. And we are going to mention him again because out of all the templates that I researched, I love the simplicity of how he breaks down all of the 12 steps. And so in his breakdown, right, JASON we talked about what he's taught in terms of why we should take the 5th step. As you know, it is a result of doing our 4th step inventory, where we acknowledge that we want to know how we became so defiant, so rebellious, so stubborn, so self-centered, so selfish, so egotistical, so prideful, right? We want to know why. Why? Not what's wrong with us, but what happened to us. And we discovered some character defects in recovery principle number 4, where we made that searching and fearless more inventories of ourselves, of those old and existing attitudes, ideas, and behaviors that need to be acknowledged, addressed, and ultimately changed from a spiritual angle, dealing with this physical condition. Okay? So yesterday, we talked about breaking down step 5. We went over that. We also talked about stopping the cycle. We went over that as well, which is why I suggest and encourage you to go back to my previous podcast to look at each and every spiritual principle and how we break them down, how we dissect them, how we analyze them, how we evaluate them, and how the questions posed by Jason Waller will kind of ignite that need and that desire to want to learn more, to get to the submerged part of that iceberg, to find out where those character defects started from, where, by whom, and in what situation, what feelings you had about them, how it affected you, and the part that you played in it. And when we get to recovery principle number 5, that's when we are going to get to the exact nature by admitting to God, as you understand him, her, the force, ourselves, and another human being, the exact nature of our wrongs. What do admit means? Confess to be true, to thy own self be true, or to be the case typically with resistance. And I know, boy, if you're like me, defiant, rebellious, what? You ain't telling me what to do, what to wear, where to go. Come on now. And so we are going to go over some of the questions that Jason Waller poses. So what I want to do now is give you an example of what that looks like, all right? So in recovery principle number 5, I had shared with you that when I did my 4th step, I had a resentment against COVID-19. Right? I had a resentment against COVID-19. In our 12-step program, one of the first things they want us to deal with is our resentments, right? Because resentments is the character defects that have babies and grandchildren and great-grand and goes down. If we get to those resentments, starting off with our inventory, wow, so much will be revealed that have been concealed. So when I was asked about my resentment against COVID-19 and why I did not take it so seriously when I first heard about it and had that attitude that it was out there and all that kind of stuff, and then contracting it, and the God of my understanding allowing me to survive, you better believe I applied these 12 steps, and I needed to do a moral inventory of my resentment against COVID-19. So this is how I broke mine down. I resented COVID-19, And when I think about that resentment, right, I was angry. And that anger, when we're talking about getting to the exact nature, that anger was generated by uncertainty. What's going to happen? What is it all about? Should I be concerned? Do I ignore it? What about this? What about that, right? And then confusion. Everybody is saying this. Somebody is saying something different. This and that and this and that. And it's like confusion. Just like when we are children, right? When our parents say, do as I say and not as I do, but that does not work. Even with the CDC, you had them telling us what to do and they wasn't even doing what they telling us to do, right? So there was some confusion. That anger was masked with uncertainty that was generated by that resentment, and then confusion, and then next frustration. Like all you hear is about COVID-19 on the news, on the radio, frustration. Oh my God, what? And then that resentment that was camouflaged by anger, that was camouflaged by uncertainty, confusion, frustration, and now disbelief. Like, I can't believe this pandemic. I mean, it's like, it's unreal. It's unreal. This is not the first pandemic that we as human beings have experienced, and it won't be the last. But when we look at what's going on, we have to ask ourselves, what in the world is going on? It's like disbelief. You know, I shared yesterday how that gentleman compared COVID-19 with a shotgun. If someone was standing before you and your loved ones with a shotgun threatening to kill you, what would you do to protect yourself and your loved ones? Everything, anything. He said, all we need to do is change the area of focus that has the same outcome as that shotgun with COVID-19. Do you hear me? So pretend COVID-19 is a shotgun and you will believe, right? And so when we get to the exact nature, what we're talking about is based on fear. It's all based on fear. Don't know what's going to happen. Don't want to believe it's happening. Thinking it won't. Fear. All right, so now I had a resentment against COVID-19, but let's talk about the resentment I had against myself. Because I contributed to contracting COVID-19. I washed my hands when I felt like it. I put on my mask when I wanted to, right? I took it on, took it off, didn't discard it, whatever. I didn't take it seriously. I took it for granted. Social distancing, no. I'm going to my family dinner. I'm going to my granddaughter's birthday party. No, you can't tell me what to do. So I contributed to contracting COVID-19. And I had to acknowledge that I had a resentment against myself. That resentment, I felt so stupid. So stupidity was masked by what? Defiance, rebellion, selfishness, self-centeredness, regrets, and remorse. Could you imagine? Oh my God. And that's why I say talk to those who have lost loved ones to this thing. They will tell you what they would do differently. They will tell you to keep your mask on. Go to bed with it if you have to. Go to the bathroom with it. Keep that mask on. Social distance, right? Social distancing. So if I go out in public, y'all going to see me with my divine light mask, right? Y'all going to see me with it, right? So this is another way I promote my sponsors, wearing their mask, right? And so I felt stupid. Stupidity was masked with defiance, rebellion, selfishness, self-centered regret, and remorse. So when I talk to those other people who have lost loved ones to COVID-19, they will tell you they took it for granted. And when we get to the exact nature of my resentment against myself, it also was based on fear. You hear me? Fear. And in a 12-step program, this is how we address fear, honey. We know that, and they're using a nice word, fear can say, forget everything and run, F-E-A-R, forget everything and run. In a 12-step program, we use something else, F everything and run, if you know what I mean, right? Or, face everything and recover. Face everything and recover. And so if the exact nature of majority of these character defects are based in fear, then we need to get to the root of our fear. We need to not forget everything and run. No, we need to face everything and recover, particularly in regarding COVID-19. If it's going to contribute to saving my life, the lives of our loved ones, yes, we have to. So when you do your resentment against COVID-19, you need to outline it just like I did, Talk about those feelings, talk about how those emotions, your attitudes and your ideas, and get to the exact nature, which is why we're setting the foundation for you to do your 5th step. And this is what it's going to look like. I'm from Missouri, and so are you, not literally, but I want to demonstrate and show you why you need to continue to join these recovery conversations with me. My predecessors did it for me, are still doing it for me today in my 12-step program of Alcoholics Anonymous. Now I'm involved in COVID-19 Anonymous, okay? So let's continue and go to the next slide and see what Jason Waller has to say. So you know that we promised that we were going to ask you a series of questions regarding the approach of COVID, of step 5, where we admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs, and everything that Jason Waller breaks down and what we have been presenting to you the last 6 days. And now on day 7, we're actually going to start posing these questions so that you not only hear, but we want you to listen. We want you to meditate. We want you to marinate on these questions so that you will see the importance, the necessity, right? The life or death situation of why you need to practice all these principles in all your affairs, but particularly regarding COVID-19. So, remember I told you we was going to change the area of focus, right? From alcohol to COVID-19. And so let's start with Jason Waller's first question. And please go to the website, jasonwaller.com. I didn't know he was an actor, right? But guess what? He's a recovering alcoholic, and he uses his podcast to share his journey while he's in the process, sort of like I'm doing now, was able to extract some information and other resources, including his own experience, strength, and hope, like I'm doing, so that we can ignite some provoking thoughts that will get you to see, to want to inquire, to want to embrace these 12 steps that are spiritual in nature to deal with everything on this physical plane from a spiritual angle. Like, what's his name? Donald Lawrence said, you are not a natural being having a spiritual experience. No, you are a spiritual being walking and living this natural experience. So let's go to this first question. All right. It says, think about it now. I want you to read it for yourself before I dig into it. Okay? Moment of silence while you read what it says. All right, let's get into 1A. How long have I been living alone with secrets and wrongs? How long? How long have you been living alone with secrets and wrongs that you have done? How long? In a 12-step program, when we are posed questions like this, when we did our 4-step inventory, we needed to go back as far as we possibly could to where those old and existing attitudes, ideas, and behaviors were formulated. So when it talks about how long have you been living alone with secrets and wrongs? How long? When I was taught as a child, you do not tell anybody what goes on in our house. It's a secret. When I know of something that happened and someone says to me, can you keep a secret? When I have done something and I have to tell somebody, want to tell somebody, or don't want to tell somebody, can I even keep my own secret? How long have you been keeping secrets? Have you been concealing the wrongs that you have done as early as you can remember? What attitudes, ideas, and behaviors, actions, and choices did you and I make regarding those wrongs and regarding those decisions? How long? And in a 12-step program like we do in Alcoholics Anonymous, and now we're going to apply it to COVID-19, many of us are hiding, are concealing wrongs that we have done regarding COVID-19, wrongs that we have done to others, not considering others, not taking into account somebody's feelings, someone's life. Yes, we have concealed our wrongs. We have held and have secrets that prevents us from being set free from recovery, emerge, empowered, which is why I had to acknowledge I had a resentment against COVID-19. Whoever the creator was, I had a resentment against the leaders who let this thing get all out of control. I had a resentment, right, against those who want to judge and criticize other people and blame this. And I rebelled against that resentment by being defiant, being rebellious, being stubborn, having that feeling of being invincible. I wasn't going to tell nobody I was feeling that. I wasn't going to share that with nobody. That was my secret. And the wrongs that I did, not taking this thing seriously. So how long have you lived alone with your secrets in general, your wrongs in general? But let's bring it home today. What secrets are you living with alone regarding COVID-19? What have you done wrong? If you talk to those individuals who have lost loved ones who are suffering from COVID-19, ask them what secrets, what wrongs they did that they couldn't reveal. And those who are left behind, I bet you they tell you something different. They will say, I'm telling it all, I'm revealing it all. So get rid of those secrets. Get rid of admitting those wrongs so that you can be set free from recovery, emerge empowered to give hope to others, help others prosper equally, including your loved ones, your culture, your city, your community, your state, your country. We can be a part of the solution. All right, so let's see what else it says, okay? Right? All right, so let me put this back on the screen. All right. And go here and let's go to the next one. All right. It says, and this is all part one of the same. This is all questions for part one. Okay. So there's subsections, you know what I mean? Just like that, denial has denial. And then when you get to the denial, there's more denial. So here is 1B. How do I feel about admitting our wrongs, our secrets to another? Do you hear the key word in there? How do you feel? How do I feel about admitting my wrongs, my secrets to another? Huh? How do you feel? Listen, I don't mind being the guinea pig, right? Number one, I felt ashamed. I felt embarrassed. I felt I would be judged or criticized. I felt, humiliated. I'm not going to tell nobody I did this or I said that. Oh, no, they're going to look at me like I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Pops, which I am, right? No. So how do you feel when you have to admit a secret or something you did wrong to another? I can't answer that question for you. Only you can answer it. Which is why we have to give you this preparatory work before we actually do the fifth step. We want to eliminate all hesitation, all reservations, and see the need to reveal what has been concealed, particularly regarding COVID-19. But if you use these principles in all your affairs, you will see how those attitudes, ideas, behaviors, action choices were formulated throughout your entire life. And until you are, like we were, introduced to a 12-step spiritual program, we will still be acting out on those old and existing attitudes, ideas, and behaviors. And that's why these 12 spiritual principles create a spiritual transformation that will create an increased spiritual maturity that will help us to obtain that psychic change. So when the world simultaneously is having this knee-bowing experience, we are saying, help us, help me, help my family, help my culture, but help us, the Creator, help us all. There's no big I's and little U's with this pandemic, no. And we haven't seen nothing like it, so don't hold back. But let's get in touch with the process of doing your fifth step and eliminate all these reservations and hesitations and all that BS that can contribute to you contracting COVID-19, giving it to your family members, and ultimately dying. Do you want to be the cause of your own death? Do you want to be the cause of the death of your loved ones? another human being? How selfish and self-centered are we? So how do you feel when you have to admit your wrongs and your secrets? Address those feelings, acknowledge them, and let's move on to the next one, okay? All right, so here we're going to go to the next final 1C of question number 1. It says, am I you ready to share and let go of anything that hinders your acceptance responsibilities regarding COVID-19? Do you hear what that question says? Are you ready to share and let go of anything that hinders your or my acceptance responsibilities regarding COVID-19? Are you ready? Are you ready to admit that you have secrets? Are you ready to acknowledge that you have been irresponsible? Are you ready to disclose your wrongs? Are you ready? Because it says, are you ready to share? To share. To share. Are you really ready to reveal what's been concealed? Do you want to empty out that garbage can? Do you want to have that diarrhea experience of letting that stuff go? Do you want to be set free? So are you ready to share, to get it out, to be set free? I know I was. When I contracted COVID-19 and affected members of my family, particularly my 2-year-old grandson, whoa. Their 78-year-old granddad, ooh. That's why I'm saying go talk to others who've lost ones, who have suffered from COVID-19. Ask them, get it from the horse's mouth. Do your own research. So, are you ready to share? And this is the other thing it says, and let go of anything that hinders your acceptance, your responsibilities regarding COVID-19. Are you ready to let go of anything? Let's take that shotgun analogy that the gentleman used. Someone standing before you with a shotgun threatening to blow your head off and kill your loved ones. What would you do? What would be your responsibility? What would hinder you from protecting your own? What would it? What would it be? So put in place COVID-19 with that shotgun. Yes. And be willing and ready to share and let go of anything that will hinder your responsibility, your acceptance regarding COVID-19 so that you can be set free, as well as saving your life and the lives of your loved ones. That was only the first question. If it's God's will that we are reunited for day 68, we're going to we are going to question number 2 of the Jason Wallace breakdown of step 5 and the questions that he posed. And the question I have for you, are you being proactive, reactive, inactive, or responsible regarding COVID-19? Are you in the prevention mode, intervention mode, or restoration mode regarding COVID-19? So if he breathes life into us tomorrow and wakes you up, we are going to go to the second question. In the meantime, if you would like to be a sponsor towards the cause of this free information, so that we can educate and encourage any and all around the world simultaneously to stop the perpetuation of COVID-19, please be a sponsor, so that we can advertise your business. So Cash App as a sponsor now, to $free to Hope. For details, email me or call me. And I want to once again thank my sponsors, right? They are Free to Hope LLC, Wilmington Enterprise Community, Women Do Haul Transportation Services LLC, Mr. C's Barbershop, Mark Cooper, Morgan of Delaware, My Attire, Lady T of Delaware's My African-centric attire, and Divine Light, a drug and alcohol recovery treatment program with supportive housing. So you too can be a part of the solution. Okay, so let me take this off and let me take this off, and I'm going to bring up my sponsors as I close. Not all of them are listed, which is why I mentioned them to you, because I'm waiting on you in order to add your name as well. Be safe, be safe, be safe.
I think I got some.
All right, got it? Woo! All right, here we go, my dog. Got it? All righty, put your Band-Aid on. We'll watch it for about 15 minutes. Okay, okay. And then we'll check on you and we'll give you a date in about a month. We'll call you. How about that?
In a month?
Yeah. All right. 28 days.
All righty.